All right, anybody want to throw out a definition for a bond? What's a bond? Corporate bonds, you've maybe heard the word. Bail bonds might work for you. Hopefully you guys don't have too much direct experience with that, but what's a bond? It's an IOU. Okay, so just a piece of paper. It's really a loan agreement between two different parties. So what's a bond? A bond is an IOU. In short, a bond is an IOU. So how bonds work, the classic thing that the Federal Reserve typically buys and sells are government bonds. So one of the ways that they finance or fund or borrow when they don't have enough taxes to cover government spending, what did we call that situation? A deficit. So when T is less than G, we've gone over this a few different times in different ways, they have to borrow. How do they borrow? They offer an IOU. So a government bond is simply a piece of paper that says, I owe you $10 million, let's say. So this is called the face value of the bond. And then we put love Obama. Some sort of official signature on there, right? So Obama gets 10 million so that they can go buy new weapons of mass destruction or other spending as they see fit. And the person now is holding this piece of paper. That's really good. Government's never defaulted on these things yet. We know that they're in some trouble now, but it doesn't seem like any trouble we can't work through. So this is really good, valuable. In other words, the person holding this piece of paper is very, 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 very likely to be paid back. Unlike maybe a corporate bond, where maybe a company issues a bond and they're kind of a shaky company, the interest rate's real nice, but if that company goes under, you're not getting paid back, right? So this type of IOU is very, very safe historically. Just for simplicity of the numbers, I'm going to say a 10% interest rate, which is way high. And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to even put interest. We're going to impute the interest. Hold on a second. Don't write that down, or if you did, cross it off. I'm going to put on here a $1 million payment worth of interest. So this is called now a coupon payment. It's effectively the interest, which would represent about 10% if we worked it backwards. And I'll get over the reason why it's done this way in a moment. So we got a $10 million principal amount that was borrowed by the government. Somebody's going to get $1 million every year for, let's say, 5 years. And so the 5 years, this is the term of the bond. The term to maturity, or the length of time. And that 5 years, of course, would have a date. So I'm doing a few things here in simplicity. All right, so the interest rate, the bond interest rate, if we take that first year's coupon payment and divide it by the amount that was lended to the government of 10 million, the face value, we get 1 million over 10 million gives us our 10% rate of return. All right, so I want to pause for a second and remind you that this transaction went on between Obama and, let's say, some private citizen. So let's say, I'm sorry, give me your name again.
Taylor.
Taylor. So Taylor's sitting there holding on to that little piece of paper that we have. And she's free to trade it. So she could go out and sell that now. And if she's selling it 3 years later and the economy tanked and the current rate of interest is now only a lowly 1%, is the thing she's holding more valuable or less valuable? Remember that the thing she's holding that Taylor's got promises $1 million payment and $10 million at the end of it. If current market rates 2 years later, because of the economy tanking, are only 1%, in other words, some other investor, the best they can get is 1%, is what Taylor's holding more valuable or less? More. So you're going to get $1 million on $10 million, effectively a 10% rate, if you buy that from her. So that just raised today's value for it. So she's free to go and sell that in the market. So why don't Taylor sell it to Taylor? And some money's exchanged. They just go about their business. Taylor to Rianne. I just got to get this visual going here. So, okay, so government bonds are traded on the open market. By the way, China could be buying that thing. That's where we get into international issues and international borrowing. Anybody in the world can buy that thing. It's out on the marketplace. All right.